So I'm going to do a video on different emulators for Android and what I think works really well. So first of all, let me just say I do not have anything for Skyline or Aether SX2 right now. But for Lemuroid, Myboy Free, Pizzaboy, Citra, VDS, the PSP, and M64 Plus FZ or FZ, I do have. So let's get right into it. Lemuroid. So this, if you don't know, is a multi-system, does-it-all kind of thing. So let's just get into this first real quick, and we'll go into this. So on Lemuroid, you have this button at the very bottom right-hand corner. You hold that, and it comes into the game menu. Fast forward, one of my favorites. Hold it down. So I'm not actually going to really play it very much at all. Just show you how things function. If you watch the Unbound series, and then you'll see how the Game Boy Advance works for on Lemuroid, and it works really well. It works really, really well. Gameplay is very good. So let's get out of that. Back to systems. The Nintendo 3DS version. Let's open Moon. Again, fast forward. So for 3DS, Lemuroid works pretty good. You see, it does have a little bit of glitches, and it is a little slower. But Lemuroid is not terrible at emulating 3DS. Now, it does have, like I said, it is kind of slow sometimes, and it does have a little bit of glitching, as you can see on Young Goose. Or the Donald Trump Pokemon, as I call him, for no obvious reason. But gameplay is really well. In my opinion, it is not as good as Citra. So I will show you Citra after I am done with this. Back to systems. Nintendo DS. It emulates Nintendo DS. Let me go over here. Again, pretty well. There is really no complaints on the Nintendo DS. It is pretty good. There is no real glitching. It doesn't really freak out or anything like that. So let's back out of that, back to systems. Now, Nintendo 64. Let's, I don't know if there is actually a way to get it to go. So let me open screen size 320 by 240 with this. No. Okay. Okay, so this is where Lemuroid doesn't really shine all too well. Let me get a little bit, I'm going to pause it, I'm going to get in a little bit into the actual gameplay of this real quick. So, I was using this the other day on exactly this game, and it did not save. It actually, yeah, no, it didn't save on me, or for me. So I'm thinking Lemuroid actually has issues saving these games. It was probably going to be a good idea to, if you want to use Lemuroid, to save often using this right there, and then under the save. And man, you know, this really does bring back a lot of memories. Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time are really, really great. So, right away, using Lemuroid, when it comes to Majora's Mask, I don't really like the controls too much, and it's gonna be kind of the same in the PSP as well. So, like, my biggest issue with the controls is they're kind of like slow-ish, I guess. How am I trying to put it? The directional pad. It's, I mean, obviously you can see that it is definitely playable, but I'm definitely using a lot of I'm concentrating a lot on the directional pad when it comes to the Nintendo 64. And it's very similar to the PSP. So let me stop here real quick to a good stopping point for this. And then I'm going to save it right here. And let's go to the next. Systems. PlayStation Portable. Alright. So, let's go and load this up. Okay, so this is my last. You can see how slow the turning is. The controls are very, very, very difficult, I would say. I'm not even gonna say they're hard or sluggish or anything like that. I'm going to say it's very, very difficult compared to my other PSP emulator. So, yeah, I'm gonna exit Lemuroid. So since I was just on the PSP, let's actually open the PSP app. Go to Games, Grand Theft Auto. So it's going, this one unfortunately has ads. It's a free PSP emulator, and this one works pretty well. We'll say that, and it's going to freeze on me. So, when this PSP app does want to work, it actually performs pretty well. There we go. Did I pick it up? Okay, there we go. So, a little bit of gameplay. It does perform really well. Okay, so let's try that again, because that was this app usually is pretty good. Two-finger. Let's try doing it this way. PSP right hand to do the R and then the action. Okay, here we go. Let's try this one. And I'm going to pause it until I get to actual gameplay. I guess in this one you can actually hit that button and okay. So see, this does work. Obviously, as you can see, this emulator has certain issues. Sometimes games don't want to load, but on Grand Theft Auto, Vice City Stories, as that last one was actually pretty decent. It's not bad. The gameplay on it is actually really, really doable.
You have to move all the stuff in this room against that wall, so Mum can clean the floor.
It's okay, Harry. You're not at the Dursleys now. You're allowed to use magic. I recommend using Accio and Depulso.
Handy.
So on this,
I've
unfortunately, like
yet.
the
Just
controls,
copy me.
because
to
it
move
is
an object, you need to aim at it first.
you know,
Then
all
cast
on
the spell.
screen.
Now you try it.
Accio.
It is a tad bit laggy by maybe
That'll
like
speed
a
things
half a
up.
second.
Might actually get finished before tea
So,
now.
you know,
It'll be a
you
lot
press
quicker
it
if you
and
teach her to pulso as well as
there's a
active.
very slight lag,
Repulso.
and then it goes
Why not? All you have to do is
onto
aim, move your wand like this, and say,
actual gameplay.
Repulso.
Okay, so Myboy. This one is actually a really, really, really good Game Boy Advance emulator. It's one of my favorites. Highly, highly recommend it. It emulates the game very, very well, and yeah, so let's get back out of that. Pizzaboy. So you got, this is actually, I haven't had this one very long, but it does seem to do a very good job. You got slow, regular, and then fast. The directional pad, not as good as Myboy. Not as good. So let's go to Citra. Citra is very, very good at doing one thing, and that's playing 3DS games very well. However, I cannot get Ultra Moon to load on Citra, so only Ultra Moon doesn't load, but you know, you got the directional pad right there, which works really, really well, and it's just overall my absolute favorite emulator for 3DS. It does it really, really, really well. Actually, let me close game. Let me show y'all on what it does on Ultra Moon. If I can find it, Ultra Moon. Select this. So it loads it up like that, just fine. And then literally every download, I don't know if I need to find it somewhere else, but literally every download that I can find for Ultra Moon, this is what happens on Citra. So it doesn't really bother me too much, as I can load Ultra Moon just perfectly fine in Lemuroid. So let's go to VDS, load new game. So VDS, it was kind of a learning curve to figure out the load. But let's click on this and then look at the gameplay on this one. So if you want to go speed it up, tap that, and then obviously just the fast forward. And the gameplay on VDS is probably one of the best, in my opinion, for the Nintendo DS. I don't have any issues with VDS. In fact, VDS is probably my favorite for DS emulation. And Myboy is probably my favorite for Game Boy Advance emulation. Citra is my favorite for 3DS emulation. But Lemuroid seems to do the Game Boy Advance and the DS fairly well. So, literally, like I said, don't have anything for Skyline, don't have anything for Aether SX2 yet. So let's go on to this one. And that's what the controls look like. And this app is actually really, really well. Gameplay is phenomenal. However, I'm unsure if this app actually has a fast forward, and that's not terrible. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But for slower games, if you're used to a fast forward, then that can get kind of irritating. And it's not a bad thing when in my opinion, when the the controls go dark, just like that. Kind of like immerses you in the actual video of what's going on in the game. But seeing how painfully slow the text is on these Nintendo 64s is just painful. So not having a fast forward is a little painful. Oh my gosh. The graphics on this is just... There's something out. It's Nintendo 64. I mean, they're classic. Alright, so gameplay for this is immediately loads easier to control than on Lemuroid. It's so much smoother, and it just does a really good job at emulating this the system. So if you want to emulate Nintendo 64 games, this app right here is probably going to be the best, or at least the best that I have. God, what a weakling. So that's what I got for you right now. Thanks for watching.